and developments in a baby's first year, and one of the biggest steps is the transition to drinking from a cup.
Yes, Mandy Griffin is joining us from Red Door Pediatric Therapy with some suggestions on how to best get through that adjustment period. Good morning and welcome to you, Mandy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. So let's start at the beginning, and that is many families may be nursing or bottle feeding. So how do you recommend, what is the good time to start that whole cup transition?
You can actually start as early as 6 months experimenting with open cups.
Okay.
Perfect.
If you had to pick something, what is the best kind of cup to start that development?
Sure. We usually recommend open cups or straws. So for the open cup, something small like this. Adults typically put something else in this type of cup, but it's a great place to start for littles, using a little bit of breast milk, formula, or some water. So when first starting, it's totally normal for babies to kind of suck on the edge of the cup or to even lose a little bit of liquid when they're drinking. Even up to 18 months, they might bite on the edge of the cup for stability. So when I usually start, I provide support just at the back of the baby's head, or make a little C with my hand, kind of providing support with my fingers around the cheeks and the chin. And then I'll give them just tiny little sips. It's important to start with those small sips because they'll need a lot of practice before moving to larger swallows or even those successive swallows that we take as an adult. And then the other one, once babies get to about 9 months, you can start introducing straws. It might take several attempts before they really get it. It's usually a little bit of a surprise to them the first time they actually get liquid from the straw. But I tell parents to try and put the straw just at the lips versus letting them bring it all the way to the back of the tongue. And once they get the hang of things, you can even trim the straw a little bit just for better development of the tongue muscles.
Very interesting. Great tips and techniques. It's when you really think about it, it's a very different muscles that you're using to use a straw or a regular cup. So what about sippy cups though?
So there are so many different types of sippy cups, and there are so many parents that use them. So I'm going to talk about 5 things that might help you maybe change your mind about using sippy cups. So first of all, they were not really designed to promote or support typical feeding development. They're designed by engineers, not a feeding specialist, so they don't really promote those typical good feeding and swallowing skills. They limit your ability to transition to a mature swallowing pattern, especially if we use them long term. So like after the first year of life or just all the time. It really promotes that suckling pattern when we want to graduate after those first couple of months of life. The nooks and crannies are hard to clean and they need to be replaced often. So an open cup is much more sanitary and clean. Using sippy cups can have an impact on our facial development. So we are born to breathe through our nose, but when we use alternative cups long term, it can really change how we breathe, where our tongue rests, how our mouth develops, and how our teeth actually erupt. And they can also impact our speech sound development. So one example would be if our swallowing pattern doesn't develop typically, it can result in kind of a low and forward resting tongue posture, which can often result in a frontal lisp, which is when your F is forward like this.
You know, one of the things, Mandy, that you see with children, they've got a sippy cup, they throw it on the white carpet or they throw it on the light-colored furniture. Nobody's going to worry about it. But an open cup, we're talking about spills. And I know for my co-host here, that was a concern as well. Talk to us about spills that children may have.
Yeah, I'm a mom of 4. I didn't. Spills are a big pain. Those leak-proof cups I was just talking about, they are okay every once in a while or when you're out and about. You have to keep your sanity, right? But being at home during meal times, open cups are preferred just for practice. And they're just ideal for oral facial development. It's helpful to use those smaller cups like I showed you with just a small amount of liquid in them when you're just getting started because it's fun to play and it's fun to spill. So it's not quite so much to clean up.
I I am so glad that we had this conversation today, because I'm a mom who I try to research some of these phases that we get to as we get to them, and I did not know anything that you mentioned about sippy cups and the ways that they could impede development and all of that. So that was so helpful to talk about. And then can I just add, I think what I found is another benefit of the open cups is that you can hopefully keep your children to a table or one area as you're drinking out them, and you're not finding old sippy cups left around your house.
With 5-day-old milk.
Yes, that sometimes happens. So wonderful topic. Thank you so much for talking about this to us today. So if we have any difficulties with our children transitioning to a cup, can we reach out to Red Door Pediatric Therapy to find out more?
Yep, we offer free screens, so you can give us a call. And we can help. We can kind of troubleshoot where the problem might be lying, and we can sure offer you some strategy.
Thank you so much.
All right, Mandy Griffin from Red Door Pediatric Therapy. Thank you. And I agree with Hope as you were talking about the things that the negative impacts of a sippy cup. I'm going, I never thought of that, but it's right. If it becomes a crutch in the mouth, and pretty soon you have other issues.
Exactly.
So, thank you so much, Mandy.
Thank you, guys.
All right, stay with us at home. More North Dakota Today is coming up after this break.